Welcome to Single Parent Success Stories, a podcast designed to inspire single parents. Here you'll find resources from self-care to finances to parenting and everything in between. Discover what it takes to thrive. Let the stories inspire you to what is possible. Hello and welcome to Single Parent Success Stories. Today's guest is Solanyi Ulloa. She's a single mom of one and a doggy, Yorkie. She is also a nursing consultant and a transformational coach, originally from the Dominican Republic and now based in Tampa, Florida. She's very passionate about helping people becoming healthy physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. She's obsessed with personal and career growth. Welcome, Salani. It is a pleasure to have you.
Hello, Irina. Thank you so much for having me. My pleasure.
Thank you. So please share with us, share your story. Did you become a single parent by choice or was it an accident? What happened?
Well, I always wanted to be a mom. I got into the nursing profession when I was 17 years old, and at 18, I was working at the NICU, which is this little neonatal intensive care unit. And, I was in charge of these little babies, and that kind of helped me flourish that mom life in me. And I always wanted to have a baby. So then, of course, I met her father. We wanted to have a child. But at that time, when I moved here to the United States back in 2010, I was not ready to be a mother. It was a new country. I didn't have a career here. And I became pregnant. And at that time, I didn't want to have the baby because it was so new for me. I wanted to go to school again. I wanted to have my career and provide a better future for this child. So her father, he started calling my family and he said, she's not going to have the baby. I want the baby and this and that. So we agreed and we moved in together, and we were together for a long, we lived together for like 2 to 3 years on and off. And then I decided the relationship was not good for me because it was a toxic relationship. And I didn't see myself living with this person for the rest of my life anymore. So I decided to end the relationship. And that's how I became a single mother.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. What were some of the things you struggled with when you became a single mother, or everything was great?
Who am I? I struggled a lot, especially when she was so little. I went back to school when she was 4 months old. And at that time, I didn't have a car. So, I'm glad that he was able to bring me to school and pick him up and pick me up after he was done working. So we always had that relationship. And sometimes she used to go to the daycare at the college, and sometimes she had a little fever or she was not feeling well, so she was not allowing the daycare. And I remember I had to go into the classroom door with the car seat, and I had to tell the teacher, and and she was pretty much asleep. So the teacher said, "Come in, come in." And I'm glad I found a lot of good people in my life that helped me out get to where I am. But definitely, I struggled financially and emotionally too, because that was one of my biggest fear. I didn't want to be a single mom, and I became a single mom back in the day, 2012ish. Being a single mother was not as is today. For me, it was very sad because a lot of my friends, they were in their marriages, and in my family that was not seen well. In my family, I was raised, you met somebody, you have a baby, you are with that person for the rest of your life. So that was another friction in my family when I decided to be a single mother. And everybody was telling me, no, you can't do that. That's going to be a shame for the family and all of these things. But I didn't listen to anybody because at that time I knew what was best for me. And being a single mother was the best thing for me.
Yeah, yeah, I can relate to the same kind of growing up. Once you marry somebody, you're supposed to stay with them till you die. For good or bad, abuse, no abuse, didn't matter. You just stay together forever. And yeah, and I was also the only one who was a single parent. Well, everybody else was married and together, and at least on the outside, they looked happy. So totally can relate to you. If you could go back in time, what would you tell your younger version back in 2012?
I will say to keep going and just keep doing what you were doing, because I always felt that intuition very strong, and I had to, sometimes I doubt it, I'm like, am I making the right decision? Is this going to work out in the end? Am I going to be okay? Is she going to be okay? And back in that time, I didn't have any family here in the United States. All my family was back in Dominican Republic. My father was in New York City, and I was living in Albany, New York. So that was like a 3-hour drive. At least it felt good to have somebody. And my mom said at that time, you can bring the baby to me. I will help you while you go to school. I will take care of her. But she would have been in Dominican Republic. And I told her, I love you. Thank you for trying to help me, but I'm going to struggle and do whatever I can, but I'm going to stay with her. And I did, but sometimes it was hard, and a lot of tears, a lot of emotional pain. But I will just tell her, just keep going.
Yeah, yeah. What helped you recover from emotional pain, from everything you were going through?
I think the most thing that was helpful for me back in the day was God. I used to go to church, listen to God's word, reading the Bible and all that stuff. So spirituality really helped me get through those tough times. And on top of having good mentors and having good people helping me out when I needed the most.
Thank you. Thank you. What do you think is the most important trait to instill in a child?
Honesty. I feel honesty is one of the main things, because with honesty, you can, say, you can always tell them, lying is not good, stealing something that is not yours is not good. So that's a good trait to have, because it's gonna try to send them in the right direction. And when we are no longer here to help them, at least that trait is gonna remain, hopefully it's gonna remain valuable for them and just be a better human.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's important trait to have.
Mhm.
What kind of advice can you share for single parents who are just stepping onto their journey of single parenting?
I will say is definitely not easy, but you can do it. And it's always good to have boundaries with the kids, because sometimes as a single parent, we want to overcompensate and say yes to everything, but that's not good. It's good to tell the kid, no, you're not going to have the latest iPhone. No, you're not going to do that. And trying to explain to them why not, because when we are trying to compensate and be there when the other parent is not present, or when the other parent is the quote unquote fun one, but we have to have those lay out and straight boundaries.
Yeah, yeah. What was the smallest thing you've done that helped you in your life so far?
The smallest thing is learning from my mistakes. We're gonna make so many mistakes as parents, but at the same time, trying not to make them again. And when we are going to say something that may hurt the child, always apologizing and recognizing what happened. And at that moment, we are trying to build up that relationship with the child, and just be patient with yourself and learn how to regulate your emotions, because I try to control my emotions, right? But emotions are there for a reason. They are there to protect us. So it's not about controlling, but regulating your emotions and learning to know yourself.
You're so right. We are not really taught how to listen to our emotions or how to process them. We're told to be quiet when we're growing up. Children should be seen and not heard. So a lot of pain, we live with that, and then it comes out when we're older. How do you show your kid, your child, how to process emotions? Do you have any tips, any suggestions?
First, I was like, stop crying, and, trying to suppress those emotions that happened to me. And then I'm like, okay, this is not helpful. And then I'm like, okay, if she's angry, it has to be a way to let the anger out, but it's not a way that is disrespectful. So if she cannot yell at me, she cannot scream. And if she wants to say, this and that, I allow it. I'm not allowing in the house when she's slamming the door, or she wants to stomp, she can stomp. That's the way she can get out her energy, anger energy, without being disrespectful.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other tips for single parents?
Try to have some fun on your own, honestly. And I remember when I started doing self-care, that was, I can't remember, 2016, I think. I was branded as selfish and a lot of other things, because people were saying, no, you are so selfish, how you gonna go on vacation and not bring your child, and all of this thing. But people are always gonna say something. Just do whatever you feel is right for you in a constructive way. And I told my daughter, like, I need time for myself, and I need to take a trip, and I'm not abandoning you, I love you. Just know when I come back, I'm going to be a better mother, and I'm not going to be yelling and screaming as much. Have some girls' nights with some of your best friends. If you're a woman, if you're a man, try to have some time with the boys, or just that time to have fun and do some self-care.
Awesome. You're so right. What do you do for fun?
I do a lot of learning. I consider fun learning, and it's the crazy thing, because what we all have a different idea of what it's fun. For me, fun is reading a new book, writing, researching. But I do like to spend some time with some of my friends, laugh out loud about things, traveling. I love traveling for fun, and going for a walk as well. Yeah, that's pretty much my idea of fun.
Awesome. Awesome. What is the best book you ever read that kind of um, that you loved so much?
The best book, it was about Buddhism, and it was inspired by the Dalai Lama. I think I have it somewhere here, but it's how to live a purpose life, or something like that. But they talk about how we are so attached to our pain and our suffering, and sometimes we don't want to let go. We just want to stay, oh, I'm suffering, I'm in pain, but that's all we see. And what they talk about in the book is how we can come out of that mentality, learn from the past, and just continue to move on.
Yeah, you're right. We take our pain as a prized possession and we carry it on a silver platter, and
Yeah.
we dedicate our life how bad everything was.
Yeah,
And not,
it's like,
not
oh, it's hurting, and I'm suffering so much, and all of this thing. And it's okay. It's okay to feel that pain, but it's not that you're going to be feeling all this pain forever. It's like, okay, what is this pain teaching me? What is this suffering teaching me? And then learning from it and move on, and trying to avoid similar situations, so that way the pain is, because when you go through the pain that you went before on a similar situation, for some reason it hurts 2 times or 3 times more. So when you go through a different pain, a new type of pain, it kind of doesn't hurt as much as the previous ones.
Yeah, because every time we reenact the same emotion, same parts of our brain light up.
And we
So
become addicted to that.
for a
Our
brain, it doesn't
brains,
matter.
mhm,
If it was in the past or if it happens right now, we relive everything the same all over again. Like
mhm,
that masochist who is cutting his own finger
yeah.
over and over and over again.
Yes, and it's about if you know, if you really want to come out of that place, you have to do something different. But if you feel okay with that pain and that suffering, that's also okay, because you know we are all different. We all have different needs, and if you don't want to come out of that place, you know, just stay where you are. But if you want to learn and grow and move on, definitely do something different.
Yeah, yeah. Was there any new things you rediscovered about yourself after you became a single parent?
I discovered how strong I am, and I've been using that strong woman belt for a long time because it's learning. I had her when I was 23. And at that time, I barely knew myself. And as I'm educating myself, as I'm evolving, I'm becoming a better woman and a better mother. So I've been definitely learning about being a better mother. And right now, I love the relationship that we have. It's not always perfect because those little arguments is like arguing with myself, you know. So it's about knowing who I am more every day.
Mhm, mhm. You're so right. So true. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing. I really loved our conversation. Anything I haven't asked that you would like to share?
I will say just, you know, be patient. This kids, I had a conversation with my daughter a couple, like a year or two ago, where she's telling me of how stressed and frustrated she is. And I'm like, okay, let's do something. So we sat down and I allow her to express how she was feeling and all the things she was doing. And she told me, you know, the school is stressing me out. Some friends are being mean. Other friends are not my friends anymore. And the teachers are mean and da 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 da. And I'm like, oh, wow, kids have problems too. In my mind, it was like, you have a job and just go to school and do what you got to do. But it really made me realize that they have a lot of thoughts in their minds as well as we do. So it's good to create that relationship where they feel that they can trust you and tell you anything, because if they're going to trust somebody, why not you? Why not building that relationship? Because other people may just not give them the good advice that you may have, and they're going to tell you some stuff that you're going to be what do I say? And it's about, okay, let me think before I talk, because you don't want to break that bond, you don't want to you don't want to break that relationship, and just give them that opportunity where they can feel heard, and always trying to be the best loving person that you can, even though some of us may come from places that we didn't receive much love. Other people may come from places that where they receive a lot of love, but always, you know, giving them a little kiss, a little hug, where they can feel safe and they can feel love. And you, of course, they're gonna be making mistakes, but I tell my daughter, the mistake that you make the first time, I'm gonna be angry. I'm not gonna lie, but if you make that mistake again, I'm gonna be twice as angry because you already made it. And they will make mistakes, and it's about teaching them to learn from those mistakes and not making them again.
Mhm. You're so right. So right. Thank you. If people would like to learn more about you, where would they go?
Well, I am on Instagram as nursepreneur01, And just know that Instagram is personal, it's not professional. So don't judge what you see there. I always try to be positive and inspire others, but just know it's not professional.
No worries. Thank you. We'll include the links in episode notes. It was a pleasure to have you. Thank you for sharing your story and your wisdom.
Thank you so much for having me, Irina. And bye, everybody. Take care.
Thank you.